For years now, we've heard that more than 20 million people worldwide are the victims of slavery. But somehow we always think it's over there, somewhere far away. But law enforcement, news media, and survivors are increasingly telling us it's happening right next door, right here in Canada. So what happens when a trafficking victim is freed, but asked to testify in court against the very person who threatened, coerced, and very likely abused him or her? Well, as you can imagine, it's terrifying. Today, I want to introduce you to a panel of brave people who simply said, I'm not okay with that. And they stood with a trafficking survivor to face her abuser in court. Welcome, everyone. John Cassells, you are a human trafficking specialist with SIM Canada. Elle, you are a volunteer with Men Against Trafficking. And Monica Catto, you are a volunteer outreach coordinator with White Rose. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
You've all been involved in this trial. John, this was your brainchild. Why did you come up with this idea, or what sparked it?
Well, as a street youth minister, I've worked with countless human trafficking victims over the years, but it wasn't really until a couple of years ago that I began to be aware that there's quite often a lot of intimidation and re-victimization felt by these young ladies as they need to go and face their pimps in court. And I wasn't okay with that, and I wondered if perhaps there was a role for the men of the church in doing that.
So you were kind of pondering that, and then an opportunity presented itself. What happened?
Well, last summer, a young lady I was working with confided in me and said she was quite frightened. She was going to have to go to court and to face a man that she described as a former pimp. And you know, when you look at Proverbs, it characterizes godly men as someone who would speak up for those without a voice, who would stand in support of them, to stand in support of justice. And so when she confided in me and spoke of her fear, I felt that maybe there's a place where I need to stand with her. And so I put together a team, and it's a beautiful story.
This is the launch of the Vulnerable Witness Support Program. It's a great title. It's a great initiative. Al, you are from the People's Church. You heard about this. Why did you decide to get involved?
Just to your point about fear, I had fear starting it, and I was so thankful to have a group of men from our church support me in it. And so that relieved me, because who knows where it was going to lead. But what was your question? Sorry, I missed it.
Why did you get involved?
I've always had a dad's heart, and now that my children have all left home and they're kind of an empty nester, I think these girls need a dad figure and the support, and somehow I hope we as men can be a father figure to a lot of these gals.
I love it, a safe man. And you know, I remember I had a good friend who was working in this industry and helping some of these girls, and he was kind of nervous about it, especially we were in Cambodia, so it's like older white men with younger girls. That's what you see in a bad way.
Right.
And I said to him, these girls know when you're safe. They figure that out from a young age because they're around a lot of men who aren't. How did it impact you being able to do that, support her through the trial?
Well, she was very frail, I thought. But during the trial, because she had so much support, there may have been 18 of us in the court with her, that as the trial went on, her confidence kind of raised. So it was good to see that.
I love that. You guys were praying for her too every single day.
Totally.
In the pews. Monica, you were part of that. You're usually on an all-woman team. So what was it like to work with men to minister to these women?
Well, it was great because it was a real collaboration, and typically, you know, as you mentioned, we're an all-women's outreach team, so we're kind of the nurturers and, you know, the practical side of it. But I think working with the men, we really got to see the father heart of God, because even as this young woman described, that she felt protected. And so it was really nice to collaborate and really be the church, like be the hands and feet. And it wasn't just, you know, women, but, you know, men saying this isn't okay. So to collaborate and work as a team and really see this young woman just blossom.
I love that. You know, John, that was kind of your idea. I love the fact, because you are the person who said, look, men drive the demand. And so a lot of women are involved in this, but men need to get involved. But then in this moment, you thought, no, we need men and women for this girl to support her. Why did you do that?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's so important to have the presence of women in this type of ministry. It wasn't just during the hours the court was on, but this young lady was put up in a hotel, was feeling vulnerable, and we needed women to be able to be with her, potentially available around the clock to provide that support. But to also have men involved, to have men who will stand up and say, I need to support this young woman in her time of vulnerability, that makes a powerful statement.
You guys were almost saying to her trafficker, back off, buddy. She's got people in her corner.
That's right.
I love that. You know, a little time has gone by now since the trial. The verdict is not in yet. But how is she doing?
Can I just interrupt?
Yeah.
During the trial, I was praying, and my prayers aren't always answered so magnificently, but I was praying that the lawyer for the guy would get confused and everything, and they actually had to stop the trial.
Really?
Right, because he had a heart condition, and they pulled away. I couldn't believe it, but God is there working.
Al,
And,
most lawyers are not going to want you in the courtroom.
no, that's right.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Well, many of you are still in touch with the survivor, and how is she doing now?
I just spoke to her not too long ago, and there is just a lightness to her voice. She's got this infectious giggle. You don't even have to know what she's laughing about, but she just feels like this weight has been lifted off her shoulders. I think it gave her the confidence. She's working now. She's got a full-time job, and she's just sounds really happy and is just really glad that this chapter in her life is coming to a close.
You all were a big, big part of that. Al, for men who maybe haven't given much thought to getting involved in this fight against human trafficking, what would you say to them?
Getting a bit emotional, but I would say that we're the protectors. I know that when I was dating and with my wife, the person in the home I was aware of or afraid of or acted responsibly in front of was her dad. Her mother I could ignore, basically, but it was the father that brought the better out of me. And so that would be my thing to the men, that these women need us. Yeah, we can protect them.
And most of them are really fatherless girls, and in that absence of a father in their lives, you know, there's often a great vulnerability, and this is one of the factors. One of the things that the predators are looking for is somebody without a protector.
And so men in the church can really, they may not be her natural father, but they can really step into this role on behalf of women and be that natural protector.
Absolutely right.
Right.
I think it's the heart of God. And I was so excited about this story when I heard it, because I believe there's a call on men to be that protector of women, you know, and just like everything else in the world, it's corrupted many times by this world, the evil in this world. But God's original plan is that men would protect women. And I think it's a beautiful thing. John, it's not over, is it? This is going to continue. This is your first time, but it's not your last time.
Yeah, this was the first project that we did like that. In the coming weeks, we'll begin to build another support team around another young victim of human trafficking. But the need is so great. We're developing a template, a bit of a tool that other groups can use to help them also support people in the same way.
If people want to find out more, get involved, where can they go, John?
They can go to menendingtrafficking.ca. Our men's team does much more than this. We're available for speaking in churches, men's breakfasts, awareness events, and the like. But menendingtrafficking.ca.
That's great. Monica, I just want to give you the last word. You work in the front lines with women in exotic dancing clubs, a lot of broken women. What don't we understand as the church about these women, that for God's heart for them, that we need to kind of get past and understand?
I think there's that potential there that they don't even see. So when we go in there, it's not necessarily about, you know, dragging them out. It's about sharing the Father's heart with them to show them that there is more, that they have potential, that there's beauty in their brokenness, and just really building that rapport with them. So like remembering their names, remembering something that they told us the last time we were there, just really just loving on them. We like to say we give them Jesus hugs, you know.
I love it. The work that all of you doing is so important. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your story. I really appreciate it. We're cheering you on here. We are.
Thank you.
Thank you.